going to welcome a client session and hear another testimonial with Mael Montarou, Head of Digital Audience and Expertise at Prisma Media. Mael will discuss with Becky Schurenberg, Content Marketing Manager at Spotify, how they transitioned from a print-only company to a leading organization in both print and digital. Mael and Becky, please join me on stage. Thank you. Thanks are here.
Great. Well, welcome to the next customer session here on powering complete business transformation and category leadership with SEO. I'd like to welcome Mael as our speaker. Thank you for being here today. Can you first introduce yourself and give a little background about Prisma and really how the company transitioned from a print-only to 80% digital brand through some acquisitions during the last couple of years?
Sure. Thank you for having me. Prisma Media, historically, we are the leader in print magazine publishing in France. We are a big media company. We used to be owned by Bertelsmann. If you look at the picture, you can't recognize myself because I've changed everything, hair and glasses, shirt. And now we are part of Vivendi Group, a huge media group with TV channels, Dailymotion, video streaming, book publishing. 10 years ago, we were a big challenger in the digital field. We were lagging behind all our main competitors. Thanks to effective SEO strategy and a cultural shift, we managed to become number one in most of our categories. So TV, website for women, business, stars and gossip. And so we did few things right to do that. And I remember when I arrived at Prisma Media, Stan, who later will become a Spotify co-founder, told me, don't go there, don't work for them. In 2 years' time, they are dead. Yeah, Stan had a huge impact on my professional life. He's sitting at the back. Because I started as a SEO consultant, working alongside him for a big French e-commerce website. Actually, it was the number one ranked at the time at Google. I don't know if 12 years ago, I don't know if in the room some people know this website. Stan, maybe you remember. It was Price Minister. It doesn't exist anymore. It's Rakuten. But yeah, it has a huge impact, and we managed to turn things around and exploit the big potential of journalism content and brands. And especially the three things I think we did okay is the first one is start with tech, the technical infrastructure, the structure of websites. Because when you start working on the technical part of SEO and internal linking, actually you leverage all the existing content. So there were years of publications that weren't seen by users. For example, on our cooking website, we had more than 40,000 cooking recipes that basically no one was seeing. We were like ranked 36 in the cooking section in Google. And just by working on the internal linking, we managed to turn things around. So that was a big part of our success. And actually, Spotify came at the right time because it was really, before Spotify, it was really complicated to crawl, analyze log. You had to do lots of things manually. It was technical. We had to do work on website one by one. So it took 1 month basically to do auditing and reviews of all the website. And JB in the room remembers this time. We used to work one website at a time and to analyze everything. And it was great, but it was working. It was taking lots of time. And with Spotify, we managed to improve SEO at scale, really. And so the tech part is a big success. The second thing is we managed to build momentum. It was a legacy print company. The culture wasn't really ripe for SEO at the start, but there were few people willing to work with SEO at tech, journalists that were willing to get more traffic and see changes. And so we start working with the brands, with the journalists that were willing to do that. And it had a snowball effect. And 10 years later, there's, I think, not one journalist that doesn't have a performance culture. And so build momentum early, it's probably the second learning. And the last one, and it will be my last point, make SEO strategic. We have to do the work with tech, content, convince everyone, get result. But then you have to go and see the bosses, the managers, and show what you're bringing to the company. It's better if you can convert everything into euros or dollars, because SEO has a tremendous return on investment. Because then you have a voice, you can recruit the best team. Some of them are here, sleeping in the first row. Some of them are abroad, watching from Fukuoka, Japan, or Berlin, Germany, right now. And the amazing thing with SEO is that we have so much insight, so many insights on competition, on trends, what people are looking for, and even on the health of the company. Because if the company doesn't work well, if tech, content, marketing doesn't go work hand to hand, SEO doesn't work. It's really a team sport. So this is my 3 points. Start with tech, build momentum early to create a SEO culture, and then make SEO strategic, kind of SEO for CEO. And they're really they're really willing to engage with yourself. And there's very few. Now I'm a head of expertise in digital audience. I manage a team of about 40 people. And but SEO is still the most precious area for me and for the organization. When we study potential company to purchase, we immediately look at SEO history, SEO potential, competitive landscape, and this is amazing.
Wow, that is a lot of change for you guys in the last few years. I know what also has changed is there's been a lot of competition that you guys have had in the last couple of years, but also just being in the media, the news cycle is increased. It's now a 24-hour news cycle. How are you seeing your search projects be more reactive, and how are you prioritizing to stay more competitive?
Yeah, a few years ago, we used to publish from 10 o'clock in the morning until 6 p.m. in the afternoon, 5 days a week, mostly, almost nothing during weekends. Now we publish from 6 o'clock and write article from 6 o'clock to midnight, 7 days a week. So there's lots more content, lots more activity, and lots more competition, because most of our competitors do so as well. So before it was kind of easy at the beginning, because you had lots of content that was sleeping, hidden in the page 2, 3, 4, 5 of Google, and through internal linking, you rank them in the first page. We work mostly with evergreen content, so you could plan, you could work on your own schedule, and this has completely changed now. First, we have to find new growth driver, because if you work on evergreen content and internal linking, when it's done, it's done. I mean, you always have to produce new evergreen content, but the growth rate is slowing. And the SEO for media is more and more driven by news.
Great. Well, I want to switch gears a little bit. I know with all your efforts to remain competitive, there's been a little changes in the way you operate. You kind of mentioned a little bit about journalists are now asking you guys what keywords are ranking so that they can actually inform their news articles and angles. And I know that there's some external factors, such as just audience consumption trends that I'm sure you're studying as well. How are these external factors playing into your strategies for remaining competitive?
Yes, as Heraclitus, a Greek philosopher, and long time ago, and more recently, Adrien Ménard this morning, the French philosopher, told change is the only constant. And we've seen a tremendous shift. SEO was really stable for a lot of time. Internal linking, internal metrics, and even when we talk with other Spotify customer today or staff, everything is going really, really rapidly now. We've seen lots of different SEO waves recently. Mobile is huge, and there has been a lot more search queries than before, a lot more queries on news-related content. Google Discover was something like it's massive for publishers. I know e-commerce website and other websites or sometimes tool providers don't get the potential of Discover, but it's for us it's a new Google. And I will come back to Google Discover right after this point. But and then we had COVID. COVID disrupted everything. People had lots of time. There was no school. There was in France remote work. We call it télétravail, and I think télé is standing for television. So lots of people were working, at least at the time. We saw that in the stats. People were checking our news website, Gossip Stars, a lot more during the day. But COVID is over, hopefully. And now we have to, and mobile, everyone is equipped. Google Discover, it's a bloodbath now, and everyone is working on this. So we really have to always find new ways to improve ourselves. Google Discover is a brand new way of doing SEO. Does anyone in the room know what is Google Discover or has heard this term? Yeah, most of people. Some people still call it Google Discovery. Basically, it's a queryless SEO. It's a mix between Google search engines and TikTok. It still uses lots of SEO ranking factors, speed, your relevance on a topic and things like that. But it used, like TikTok, it used user behavior and preferences to adapt the news feed constantly. And there's lots of machine learning. For every algorithm change, there's lots of change, a lot more than in traditional SEO. And it's really difficult to keep up. Every day is a battle. And I think in France, we are probably the number one media group on Google Discover because we had lots of stars, gossip, entertainment websites that are performing currently extremely well in this service. But still, we are very. It's very difficult for us because some days it doesn't send as much traffic at the previous day. John Mueller from Google said that, it's bonus traffic. You don't have to account for it, and it's just extra. Don't worry. But for us, it's now it represents more than tens of millions of euros a year. And we are in the budgeting season now. And how do you account for Google Discovers and all those changes? So, and there are very few tools available. So it's a chance because for traditional SEO, most of our competitors are equipped and best practices are commonly shared. Google Discover is a new green field, but a very aggressive field. And every day you have to keep up and to perform. And Queen of England died in the evening, I think. So journalists have to write in the evening, and they have to perform right away, and that's how you know if everyone has been evangelized and knows best practice and how to look for trends and what's working. And yeah, so Google Discover is definitely and mobile news consumption is definitely something that disrupts our business every day.
Sure, well, I'm sure it's going to keep evolving as more people are using that. But being a media company, it's always a challenge to determine how long to keep content, what's ranking hot, how long to keep cold content. How do you determine when it's time to remove pages, and how does Spotify help you with that? But also, how does that affect you competitively?
Yes, traditionally we were really happy with lots of pages, lots of content, as long as our content were regularly crawled. More pages, it was more internal linking. It was good for search engines. Sorry. For the last few years, we started removing content that weren't performing. We always removed pages that were ineffective and zones that were not ranking at all. But we never removed the article for SEO reason. Now we do. And Spotify is a great tool to see which articles are performing and which are not. And there was just before the presentation on clustering, and see common traits and characteristics. Sorry, on content that were performing or should perform. And but already manually you can do lots of things with Spotify, and it's really instantaneous. So, for example, if you look at all those if your e-commerce website, your product pages, or if your content website, your news pages, you apply the filter not enough link in Spotify, internal link, and not enough content, and then you'll see lots of pages, maybe 10-20% of your pages doing something like 0.1% of your audience. And you can dig deeper and look in which category those articles are, when they were written, when they were published. Sorry, to try to really tackle the pages that were ineffective, and we do so now regularly with Spotify, and with URL Explorer. It's we do the filter, and then we get the result right away. So this is and we really looking forward to all the new AI innovations that will generate insights and all those smart features, because currently we are still doing it manually.
Got to get that started. Well, I think that was it. If we want to welcome audience questions.
Yes, absolutely. We do have questions. Now, just a quick reminder, if you've got any questions for Mael, you can use the Slido app for those of you who are here, and for those of you online, the chat section is all yours. Let's start with that one. You mentioned, that was actually interesting, you mentioned, Mael, that journalists, or was it you, maybe Becky, journalists are functioning differently now, asking what is ranking to determine what they will write about. How are you seeing topics change then from time to time? And are you seeing any topics that have come back, or are they always new?
I will take the first part of your question.
Yes.
The second one,
It's a two-part question.
Journalism has definitely changed. For example, now we have what we call the newsroom analytics. So we have dedicated views on what's performing for each writer, each category, each website, and we have a real-time view, actionable view, and adapted to newsroom. So when we publish something with Google Discover, with all the news one box, Google News, everything, you see really quickly if it works or not. And if it works, we tend to replicate those subjects. So, for example, I'll come back to the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Historically, we would have written maybe 2-3 articles on this topic. I think we wrote hundreds. And because we are writing more on what's working for us. And is there another part or something I didn't reply to?
I think that was good.
Right.
Any topics that have come back? That was the other part. Or
I
are they
don't know.
always new?
COVID, I hope not. No, there's topics
Yeah.
that come back every year, basically. So when it's tax season, when it's ski season, when it's get back to school season, Christmas, and
So you can prepare for those.
yeah, it's really good. Like those. In France, we call it marronnier. I don't know in English how we call it, but when they come back every year, it's great because it's still something very new that you have to, but you can be prepared. And you know that Black Friday start on this date. You know it will be huge. You know you will have to be prepared, but at least you know when it happens. So this is very good for us. And we work a lot on those recurring events. To make sure that we amplify and we capitalize on what has been produced the year before. Yeah. We those recurring events. It's a very good foundation for us because it's predictable and. It's good.
And we like predictable, definitely.
Sure.
Another question that we have from the audience is, you mentioned keywords as something Prisma looks at when considering new acquisitions. Can you expand on this a little for us?
What we look at, for most websites in our field, the first traffic source is SEO. So by looking at SEO, you get lots of insights on the health of the company you're willing to, you're studying for potential purchase. And looking at the history of this website, you can see, for example, if there's a Google penalization. Is it correct? Yeah. If Google has penalized the website, you see if the website is growing. If it's not, you see if most of the URLs are ranked in page 2, 3, 4. You see there's potential. You see the intensity of the competition, and you can see how you can try to predict based on what you see the website is not doing right currently. What you can optimize. You can predict a growth, and then there's value in the acquisition. Is you can bring SEO best practices and immediately boost traffic. So this is and as well to screen targets like SEO tools. You mentioned one new Spotify partner, SEMrush, or other competitors, Ahrefs, Rank Explorers, or Yoda. I want to name a few. You can screen the whole market. You can see, okay, so this one is a challenger, but there's this competitors, these competitors. Let's talk with them. It's not so easy. Like, for example, if you want to, in content to commerce, on some areas, it's not so easy to know which websites are creating traffic. And but with those tools, you get a clear view really rapidly. So we have a treasure trove of information, and we need to use it more. I think whether it's Spotify or us as client, we have data that are really strategic. Strategic is often very used very frequently and not in a very great way. But in this case, it's true. I mean, when you're considering an acquisition and you say, "Oh, the SEO guy told me that there's not enough potential. Let's not do it," then SEO becomes strategic.
Right, we've got loads of questions coming in and only 5 minutes left, so we might not have time for everyone. Another question, which is more organizational: how are SEO responsibilities split in your organization?
That's a great question, and I'll do short answers. And basically, we have technical SEO on my left, and then we have more editorial SEO. Technical SEO is where we have the most leverage, and editorial SEO is where you have the most work, because for every topic, for every journalist, for every website, you have to produce new recommendations. And that's it. And then the journalist and editorial team, they're sorry, I'm looking at the time. They're doing SEO. Everyone in the organization basically is a SEO manager. The technical product owners are doing SEO in a way. Journalists are doing SEO. But in terms of SEO staff, we have technical SEO mostly and editorial SEO mostly.
Thank you. And the SEO team, the full SEO team is here if you want to ask them questions later on. You mentioned evangelization, Mael, but can you tell us more about your editorial strategy to make sure to appear in the Google Discover results?
Yes, I could. But
or
then,
not.
But then I'll have to kill you. No, it's the best practices that are commonly shared, and I can talk about them, like speech, image size. There's other things that are a lot more confidential, because by looking after them, we get an edge on the competition. Maybe it won't last for long, but so I won't get into too much specific on that. But there's definitely a field to explore, and with all the data science and expertise at Botify, it's definitely, I think, a subject that you'll look at pretty soon.
All right, thank you. Another question: how do you keep up with search trends? And with COVID, search volumes changing a lot suddenly. How did you keep up with them?
We didn't. No, when people were all looking in their on their smartphone and watching TV, and so we had lots of huge traffic boost. Now traffic is on most websites, it's a bit down from 2021. It's still very much growing if we take 2019 or 2020 as reference. But yeah, COVID was a huge wave. It disappeared, and we are looking for the new one.
Good luck.
Hopefully it won't be a disease or anything. It will be something much more positive.
Yeah. What do you? It's interesting. This one you mentioned TikTok and Google Discover. What do you think about TikTok apparently becoming the search engine of Generation Z? Is it something you work on?
We are working definitely on TikTok, and we have Gala, one of our brand, is #1 media brand on TikTok in Europe currently. And if you're a TikTok user and you didn't subscribe to Gala, you can check it out right now. It will improve the engagement metrics and will rank a bit more. I was very skeptical, and I was discussing with François from Wamiz just before at the break about TikTok being a SEO tool for a new generation. It seems to, like, when we look at figures, we look who's on your website or who's on TikTok, and you ponderate this figure by the time they're spending on. It's huge, and we see new generations that use very rarely Google, and it pains me to say so. But it seems to be true. I don't really get how you search for things on TikTok, but I think the first thing is that it's so effective as predicting what you're interested in, that it sucks all your attentions and need for information, and then you do a lot less queries in Google or elsewhere, because it's really, really powerful. And Google Discover, Thomas, Botify co-founder, told me, I've discussed with a topic with one of my friends. I didn't perform any Google search, but then I looked at Google Discover 1 hour after that, and the topic appeared right away. He said, I'm sure Google is listening to me or something like that. And yeah, those tools are so good to predict what you will be interested in. That it's, I'm not sure it's SEO per se, for now at least, but I think you get answers for questions you wished you would have asked. And it's very, very impressive, like TikTok, Google discovers, and even traditional social media. Before it was LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It was based on link graph. So basically, if your friend liked something or commented something and you were really close with him or her, you see this first on your news feed. Now it's completely different. They clusterize you like Spotify does with some of your product, and they say, oh, I think you like cats. And there's these big cat videos that's really popular right now. I'll show it to you. And then if you interact with the video, if you click on it, if you look at the comment section, if you like it, then I'll show you a lot more cat video. And you never declared anywhere that you were looking for cats, but you get a news feed or a feed in TikTok that's very relevant. And we need to adapt to that, and we need to look a lot more on. We look at I see 5, 3, 2, 1. We need to look at customer behavior a lot more. SEO was mostly serving Google. Google crawl, what Google was crawling, what it was not, what was valued by Google, what was not. Now we need really to understand what satisfied user, what users are looking for, because Google, at least in Google Discover, use lots of Chrome metrics of real data usage, and it will appear more and more in Google search, and there's an update. I think it's useful content, and probably it will use more and more those metrics. So yeah, definitely look at what users are looking for, and look at what Google Discover. Even if you're on e-commerce and you think that TikTok is for your kid and Google Discover is for only media news organization, get a look at it, because it's amazing, the power of AI and prediction, basically. And I think SEO will be more and more AI and SEO tools such as Spotify, more and more AI and more prediction.
Thank you so much, both of you. Any final words, Becky?
No, that was it. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you both.